I do appreciate the input from the department heads on that. It's easy to get conversing. Okay, roll call.
Chisel, Neal, Carlson, Luce,
Here.
Zittergruen,
Here.
Hadley,
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Is there anybody who wants to speak or present something to the council that was not on the agenda? Seeing none, consent agenda.
Item A, minutes of the November 15th, 2021 City Council regular meeting, November 29th, 2021 council work session, December 1, 2021 work session. Item B, claims. Item C, change order number 1, asphalt resurfacing 2021 street improvement. Item D, payment application 002 for asphalt resurfacing 2021 street improvement. Item E, payment application 7 for 2021 East Main Street improvements. Item F, payment application number 7 for Locust Road and utility improvements. Item G, approve abatement for Ben Levison of 1307 Big Sky Lane for remodel. And item H, approve renewal of Class B liquor license, including outdoor service and Sunday sales for Hotel Winneshiek pending Dram Shop.
Luce with second.
Chisel motion, Luce second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Chisel, Luce,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Zittergruen,
Aye.
Hadley,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Conduct public hearing for Boulevard easement lease with A&M Coffee LLC. Travis, you want to give any background on that before we open up the public hearing?
Sure. So this is in line with the Scooters Coffee as A&M Coffee. This is in line with the lease agreement that council talked about at last month's meeting, setting the public hearing. The draft that was proposed to council was then amended based on the conversation to limit to A&M Coffee only, because it was noted that it wanted to stick with the current applicant, and also changed that if they were to pull any changes to the sign that would require a sign permit to be pulled, would reopen the discussion on possible termination by the council. And the reason it was phrased that way is that instead of auto terminating and then it would reopen for a new, they'd have to rediscuss a new, is that would require a subsequent new public hearing and publication notice and going through the process again. This allows for the council to take a surface level look and give 60 days notice to terminate the contract based on that permit that they would pull.
Okay, so I'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody who wishes to speak to this item? Seeing and hearing none, I close the public hearing. Consider resolution 3232 approving Boulevard easement lease with A&M Coffee LLC.
I've got just a quick question. Do we have information on their plans for the size of the sign? I mean, I know that the easement itself is like, I forget the numbers, but it was pretty surprisingly big to me, I guess. Like, and is the sign lit? Is my other question. So this is like the signs I've seen on this franchise in other towns. Pretty big, lit up. Is that accurate?
Sorry, I was just asking John. It was in the Dropbox from
Yeah,
the meeting to set the hearing. And so I was asking him if he would pull it up. My tablet's dead.
I mean, I remember reading it when we set the hearing, but that was a month ago. So,
Jeremy, I don't suppose you remember, do you?
I'm trying to pull it up too.
And while y'all are looking it up, have we discussed whether or not we have to cement the concrete, the easement or not?
that's next.
Is that next?
It's a later item, yes.
All right.
I mean,
Well, while pulling it up, I
Yeah,
guess
go ahead.
I'm not keen on putting a sign in the boulevard. I don't know that I like the precedents. I'm a little concerned about the size.
Okay,
I think
so
there are other places for the sign. It looks like, yeah, I mean, I'll let other council members speak freely, but I'm not wild about starting the process of putting signs in our right of way and having them extend out farther than they've been. So I guess that's my thought on it initially.
there's not a lot that we as a council can do to restrict, business owners from doing what they want to on their own property. And I think that's probably healthy and good for the most part. But this is a place where we do have some say. And I personally don't think that the sign that's being proposed, if it's like the one in Rochester, conforms very well to our community. I don't think that this business is, I'm not so desirous of like doing whatever it takes to lure them in that I, think that we should be voluntarily handing them a lease on our land for 25 years. I guess that's, to put up a
Right.
sign that I don't like.
Travis, did you have a comment?
So dimensions for the sign are approximately 7 feet wide as they extend, across the right of way, and 12 feet tall at the top.
Is there a picture of that? Oh, there it is.
So it's fatter. It looks like it to me. I went by the one in Rochester today, this weekend too, just to look at it. It's like it's fatter but shorter than the one in Rochester.
Is it lit?
I see, and I tried to read that a month ago. I tried to read the whole thing and I don't feel like I got an answer as to whether they intended to light it. But it looks exactly like the one in Rochester, which is lit. Is that right? It does? It
Yeah.
does? Okay.
I guess again, it's not about their sign. I guess I'm more opposed to any sign in our boulevard, actually.
And I'll say also, I'm particularly opposed to a sign that looks like a traffic signal. I think that that's confusing to put on the right of way. I don't think that too many people would make that mistake, but it would distract people. It's meant to.
Do we currently have other signs that are in the right of ways? Not like the precedent we're setting here.
There's the gas station.
Yeah, Quick Star on Commerce in Montgomery, I believe that is in the right of way. Again, a similar situation where we have a wider right of way. That's the difference really between this property and all the other properties on Short Street, is that the right of way extends farther north. So what they're asking for is to align their sign with the other signs on Short Street. So just so that's clear. If the right of way were consistent throughout the Short Street corridor, this request would not have come forth.
So it's not going to stick out farther than the,
Now I can bring up a plan sheet.
see, when I drove by there, I thought it was going to be like farther out.
So can you see this? So here is the proposed location of their sign. Here is the business to the east, their sign. So they extended this red line is if the right of way were consistent, they would be, sorry. So again, 27.3 feet from the back of the curb. The sign of the business to the east is 27.1 feet. So essentially the same distance from the back of the curb.
How far back is theirs, did you say?
27 feet, 27.3. They measure the sign for the business to the east at 27.1. So 0.2 of a foot. So essentially the same.
So the other businesses aren't in our right of way because the easement, the right of way is.
Correct. So if you see this black line here,
Mhm.
that's the right of way line. This red line is what the right of way is on either side, properties on either side. Because of the utilities we have in this area, the right of way was extended wider in front of this property.
That's good clarification. Thanks.
Could you point again where it is sound?
Where they
they're
want the sign?
proposing where it's gonna be, yes.
Yeah, right here. Proposed monument sign location, so right. There's a lot going on here. So here, this is the back of the curb, this line here. Here's the entrance, existing entrance.
I appreciate that bit of context. It does make it closer for me. I'm, I still personally don't, I don't think a lit illuminated sign or whatever that's that large fits the character of that neighborhood. And so I'm going to vote no.
Input from other council, please.
I'll just make a motion to approve resolution 3232, approving a Boulevard easement lease with A&M Coffee LLC.
Second.
second that.
Motion made by Johnson, seconded by Luce. Further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Johnson,
Aye.
Luce,
Aye.
Neil,
Aye.
Sittergruen,
No.
Hadley.
Aye.
Chisel.
Okay, motion carried. Consider installation of streetlights on East Main Street. Travis, you want to give some background on that, please?
Yes, so this is a, well, reconsideration of the action at the last council meeting. So the way council's rules play out is that a motion to reconsider both motions last council meeting can be done either at this meeting or the next meeting in December. Otherwise, we're supposed to wait an entire year before council can consider this again. There may or may not, John and I were having a discussion that it could be sooner, but this right here is for, based on Wednesday's information that was given, if council can reconsider so we can get streetlights installed on East Main. I know Jeremy's taken a few phone calls from residents on this. In the notes I did provide, a motion to reconsider can only be made by somebody on the prevailing side. So for those that voted down the proposal for Alliant at the last meeting, only those individuals could motion to reconsider for Alliant to install the lights, and the same would apply for Novak. Only those that voted down that motion could bring it back for a motion to reconsider. Any council member can second the motion.
Hadley will make a motion to accept the bid from Alliant Energy to install the lights on East Main.
Motion made by Hadley, seconded by Chisel to use Alliant for installation of streetlights on East Main Street.
Is the motion to vote on this or to reconsider it?
I would treat them one the same, wouldn't you, John?
Right, I treat it one and the same, since
thank
it's
you.
being made by somebody that voted in the majority.
Yes.
So now that's our motion that we're considering Alliant.
Correct.
Was there a second?
Yes, it was. Any further discussion?
I spent a lot of time digging into the numbers on this weekend. I was spurred on by a comment that Randy made at the end of the work session. I appreciated how he thought about it. And then I, spent a lot of time looking at our November light bill to try to figure out if their estimates, and I mean, I spent a lot of time figuring out if their estimates matched up with what they were saying to us our costs would be if we went with their proposal. And I will say that I think that their estimates are a little bit high for what we would be paying if we went with our own meter. But I don't think, and I think their estimates are high for a couple reasons. One, I think that we could move our account to a time of day billing account, which would save us a couple of bucks per month on these three lights. And the other thing is that when they don't meter lights, they end up with higher usage than I think we actually experience on the lights that we meter, which is to say they just sort of assign to every light that isn't metered a usage level that there is, manufacturer recommended. But it ends up, I think, compared to real world numbers being high. So I don't think their estimates are accurate. But if you look at the math, it's still not even close. It's the right financial move for the city to accept this proposal for these 3 lights. It'll save us thousands of dollars up front and only costs us a couple of bucks per month, maybe $5 a month at most. I do think that we need a comprehensive plan for how we want to untangle the very tangled mess that is our current account relationship with Alliant. We have a ton of accounts, we have a ton of meters, and it's really hard to figure out where the money's coming from and where the money's going. But I support this motion.
And the reason I brought it back forth was that if Alliant takes ownership of them, they do the locates. And that's the that's the secret sauce that we have not considered in either of those bids. It's the labor time savings for an asset that's held by someone other than the city. So it adds to the number.
Okay. Roll call,
Can I,
sorry.
no, that's okay. I just want to say before roll call that I'll support this motion. One, because I think the residents on Main Street deserve some lighting, and this is the most cost-effective way to do it right now. But I second this idea that I think we need to be more proactive in our thoughts about our infrastructure when it comes to utility. I don't like that we get to a street project and we're having to be pushed against this deadline and be forced to make decisions that might not actually be in the best interest of the city long run. I'm not saying this particular one isn't. I'm saying that there are a lot of decisions that need to be made on our infrastructure when it comes to our electric utility that I think affects all our other utilities as well. And so I'd like us to be more proactive in this coming year and to think about this untangling and also to create a very clear vision of what we would like for our utility infrastructure. And Alliant has said numerous times that they'd like some partnerships. So maybe there is that light polling swap. Maybe there are opportunities that we're missing. And I'd rather be proactive than just kind of reactive.
Okay, thank you. Roll call,
Hadley,
Aye.
Chisel, Luce,
Aye.
Zittergruen,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
thank you very much. Consider resolution 3231 accepting Mossman Drive as complete and dedicating Mossman Drive as public right of way. Who gets to give background on that?
Yes, so the city has received all required paperwork, the deed, the mortgage release on the right of way. The developer has fulfilled their obligations as of this afternoon at around 2 o'clock or so. So Jeremy, as the city engineer, has prepared a letter recommending acceptance by the city council of Mossman Addition up there as a public street.
I'd move 3231.
Moved by Luce, seconded by Chisel. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Luce,
Aye.
Chisel, Zittergruen,
Aye.
Hadley,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Motion pass. Consider ordinance 1284, amending chapter 1240.44, snow, ice, and accumulation removal. Second reading.
I'll second.
Motion made by Chisel, seconded by Neal.
Have you had any feedback at City Hall on this at all? Streets?
We did get a press inquiry. I guess, I mean, we got an email asking us for what we're doing and why. So I think that that's kind of a form of interest. As far as considering whether to waive the third reading or whatever. I don't know.
Now, the first thing you have to do is do the second, and then you can make another motion if you prefer.
I think you're saying, just clarify what this ordinance is.
Well, Ross asked if there was any feedback, and I think that that was a parallel thing. So I was just sharing that,
Yep.
Mayor. Thank you.
Mhm.
Travis, do you want to read the do we need to read the ordinance again, or do you want to?
No,
covered.
I think what Steve was clarifying is when I said, no, we haven't received any comments regarding it. We haven't received any comments, but the newspaper did reach out and ask, can you tell me what this ordinance is?
Oh, sure.
So
Further discussion? Roll call?
Chisel, Neal,
Aye.
Hadley,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Carlson,
Oops,
I'm sorry,
no.
Luce,
Aye.
Zittergren.
Motion carried.
I'll second.
Moved by Chisel, seconded by Neal to waive the third reading and adopt. Any discussion?
I would ask that we do send a press release to our media outlets describing the changes to the ordinance in an effort to do a better job of communicating with what is a fairly clear, well-written ordinance, but just so just to start on the education process.
Good suggestion.
And it becomes effective immediately, right? So it'd be great if we could get up in Decorah News. If we,
Public,
Paul, you'd put that up this
it
week
does have to
because-
be published.
Oh, it has to be published. Okay.
Okay.
But you can write what it is so people are kind with their snow shoveling.
Yeah. All right, roll call?
Chisel, Neal,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Luce,
Aye.
Zittergren.
Aye.
Hadley.
Aye.
Award an IEDA Downtown Housing Grant RFP to Lori Meinholz of Elvira Estates LLC. Want to give some background on that, Travis?
Sure. So in October, if the council remembers, the council approved issuing a request for proposals for two separate programs. The Community Catalyst, which I did present at the time, knew that it would be difficult for any business in Decorah to get that just because of Decorah's vibrant downtown. And the other being the Downtown Housing Grant. This is through IEDA. This is a new funding source that a project could be eligible for up to either 300,000 if they had less than 10 housing units, or up to 600,000 if they had more than 10 housing units as part of this project. We issued the request for proposals, and Lori was the only response received for the downtown housing. Did send an email out to Steve Luce as the chair of the Economic Development Committee, as well as our economic development partners with the Chamber and Wenatchee County Development and Tourism, to get their opinions on if this is a good application to present to council, because part of that RFP said if no good responses were received, we didn't have to award. And it was unanimous to move forward with presentation to council to award the response to. This is also the Nordic Chiropractic Building, if you're not familiar, on East Water Street there. So, excuse me.
In looking at the packet, the fact that it's providing downtown, new downtown housing with off-street parking, I think is a no-brainer, and it earns my support.
Lori is here. If you have any questions for her.
I'll just say thanks for going to the work of writing up a grant that might bring external investment into the city and for making our downtown better. Thank you. Hope I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, I'd second the thank you, and thanks for your work and time and energy in restoring a downtown building and all the efforts you're putting into it. So thanks.
Yeah. Yeah,
Second.
okay, but who moved? Moved by Chisel, seconded by Luce. Any further discussion?
It's exactly the type of thing we're thankful for happening in the downtown.
Good luck.
Yes.
Roll call.
Jizzle, Luce,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Zittergruen,
Aye.
Hadley,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Consider an agreement to combine township and city precincts. I'm going to give background on that.
Yes, so this is if there's an election held that's not purely a municipal election, so we've got joint townships also have to have a voting precinct, whether it's school district election, county. All this agreement does, which has existed in the past between the city and the townships and the county for the townships. All this does is allow for only one voting precinct to be shared. So on those overlapping wards and county districts, they can have just one voting precinct. They don't have to have two.
You mean where people vote?
Right. Yeah, it's just one polling place.
Right.
I would move accepting the agreement.
Moved by Luce, second by Chisel. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Luce,
Aye.
Chisel, Neal,
Aye.
Zittergruen,
Aye.
Hadley,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Consider agreement with WHKS for biannual bridge inspection.
WHKS is a engineering firm out of Mesa City, Clear Lake area. They have served as the engineer for the city of Decorah to do our biannual bridge inspections in the past. DOT requires that on every 2 years. We have these inspections done, submit that information to the DOT. We're not able to do that in-house. Bridge inspections are a special certification that we don't have. And the agreement is for $5,300. We have to contract this out with someone, and WHKS is fairly well renowned for bridges in the state of Iowa. And they do have a history with us, correct?
Second.
Motion made by Chisel, seconded by Hadley. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Chisel, Hadley,
Aye.
Luce,
Aye.
Zittergruen.
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Consider request from A&M Coffee Scooters to pave access drive at 900 Short Street.
Okay, so this is the request that Ross had alluded to before on the sign question. So the parcel next to the scooters location, it's owned by the city. It was part of the Short Street project, 2013, I believe. And the city acquired that because of a box culvert in the area to have access to it. And we believe the intention was to dedicate it as right-of-way eventually. There are two businesses behind there, Weiss and Malcolm. It's taking me a while to get that one right. So those two current businesses utilize that parcel. It is not right-of-way. So we've got a couple avenues that we've got to correct eventually, either dedicate it as right-of-way or provide an easement through there. Right, John? So
Yep.
we've,
We're looking at it, right?
yeah, looking at it up there on Beacon right now. So right now it's crushed aggregate. And the area that Scooters is requesting, Jeremy's estimated to be about 10 to 15,000 to pave. So if we were to dedicate as right of way and we were to do this right, and by that I mean, if it's right of way, it should be built to the city specifications. So if we design a street and build a street to serve as the driveway for Scooters, Weiss, and Malcolm, 10 to 15,000, right, Jeremy?
But if we do an easement,
If we do an easement, it can stay crushed aggregate
I would,
or be paved.
Plows that currently, Jeremy? The businesses?
Yeah, because the easement, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a street, right? So we have never plowed it.
right. I would recommend that we not, and that we make it a legal easement to clear up any liability or any other potential legal issues, but it's not ours. I recommend not paying for paving or taking on any other responsibility other than an easement.
I concur with Ross and I think we should use any savings to build more sidewalks.
So what if they were considering the easement, that would be separate. So this is just to whether we would consider paving it or not, correct?
Right. The real point of bringing that up was if we're going to dedicate it as right of way, we should build it to a city street
I've
specification.
gotcha. Okay,
If we, sort of proceed with the sense that seems to be emerging, then would you just want direction to pursue an easement agreement or what?
Well, I would like a motion to deny the request from A&M,
So
and
moved.
then we can do on the easement on the other side.
I move we deny the request.
so I have a motion made by Zittergruen to
Second,
deny,
second.
seconded by Hadley. Any further discussion? Roll call?
This is an odd one. We're voting yes to deny, correct?
Correct.
I mean, yeah,
That's correct.
double negatives.
Okay.
Zittergruen,
Yes.
Hadley,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Chisel, Neal,
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Motion denied.
And then I would ask staff to pursue an easement agreement with with the affected parties.
Okay, you can bring that back.
Mm-hmm.
Consider approval of proposal from RNS Fiber Optic Services LLC for design of fiber infrastructure.
Okay, so
Or Jeremy. How about Travis?
I've been called worse.
Sorry, Jeremy.
Just today,
I
but-
didn't- You know, too used to going to Jeremy.
So, in conjunction with Monday night's work session with the goal setting session where fiber to the premise was a top vote getter for goals. But Chopper, Carrie, myself have been working diligently on how to carry this project out. Well, one of the first steps is we need to figure out what does that framework look like and what are those estimated costs. We're going to have to do this. If the city owns the infrastructure, it's going to have to be a competitive bid project. So this proposal from RNS is for 25,000 to develop the plans and specifications necessary that we could go to any contractor, because we're going to have to go through competitive bid. I'm emphasizing that. We could go to any contractor and say, what are you going to charge us to build this? And so that is the first step. And that's what we're proposing, is to enter into this agreement to RNS for them to design those plans and specifications. I know it's a hefty sum, but this will also provide us with an estimate of what that total project's going to look
But
like.
they're actually designing two different plans of how it could be done for this amount.
Correct. There, so it's going to be a base alternate. The proposal is for a base alternate. One is utilizing the existing Metronet fiber ring as the backbone of the network. The other is a standalone. So it is, in essence, two separate plans and specifications.
But for 25,000.
Correct. Yes.
And just to be clear, this is on a pathway to provide more reliable internet for the city of Decorah.
Yes. This is if the city of Decorah is going to build, this step must happen.
And we don't have to competitively bid this step?
No, because this is a service.
Okay.
But this price is in line with what you think is industry standard.
I would say it's a little low. Just don't tell Adam that. But this is the city we only sought out the one quote because this is the only individual that we knew had any kind of relationship or working knowledge.
But
with
two
our-
providers responded to the RFP to provide fiber to the home, Randy. So this would be the framework for what they would build if they were to accept. Yeah. Yeah, we have, if they respond based on this spec. So
But even the person writing this, did we have a couple of them so we know that?
I don't think so.
But so I mean, I guess I'll just trust that it's not, it's industry standard, these costs. And we did something parallel with the fire department where we just, we picked the architect. This is kind of the architect maybe of the fiber lines.
Pretty much,
Yeah,
yes.
I-
It's no different than well, it's a little different, but utilizing Jeremy to develop plans and specifications for our city projects, we have to have somebody to do that. I have no knowledge of anybody else that can actually design this. Chopper, do you know of?
And they're available. So Hadley will make a motion to accept RNS fiber optic design for 25,000.
I'll second.
Motion made by Hadley, seconded by Neil to accept the proposal. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Hadley,
Aye.
Neil,
Aye.
Chisel, Luce,
Aye.
Zittergrun,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And we had full support of the Telecommunications Utility Board. I know it was in the back, I know it was in the Dropbox notes, but just so people know that we're not just Wild Westing this, it was reviewed by a complete committee and vetted prior to our voting as well.
Consider Federal Airport Improvement Program pre-application.
Okay, so this is an item left at the end because the Airport Commission met at a special meeting last week just to select its its airport engineer, and selected a firm that has not been associated. They assisted with the Rowling Hangar. It's McClure Engineering, who we've used for a few street projects or city projects. They do not have a lot of familiarity with the airport's. They knew enough about its CIP that they made some proposals about possibly changing the existing CIP. So it's not, CJ was the existing firm they were utilizing, and there was another employee that left CJ, went to another firm, and he was not selected either. I'm sounding long-winded. What I'm getting at is this is the pre-application for federal funding based on the existing CIP and how the Airport Commission had wanted to move forward at that time. In the selection process, McClure provided a different CIP that included all the same projects, but shifted around their time frame, which resulted in a different funding with a lower local preference. Or excuse me, local support. No, thank you.
It'll cost us less.
It would cost us less by shifting some projects around. The Airport Commission approved this pre-application to recommend to council. Ultimately, council has to approve the pre-application for us to be eligible for federal FAA funding, which is a 90-10 grant match on most projects. We can submit this and then amend later, but this does have a due date of December 21st. So it could actually be tabled, go back to Airport Commission, have them meet with the new airport engineers. I'm saying this could, but if the council would be supportive of approving this and then the Airport Commission look at amending later, there's a lot of moving parts that I don't know if we can hit that December 21st deadline.
And we're not committed.
We're not committed to the projects,
Right.
correct?
Right, yeah. So this is the necessary step for them to be able to even apply.
Correct, to even apply for funding, correct.
I'd move we support the pre-application.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Luce, seconded by Neil to support the application. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Luce,
Aye.
Neil,
Yes, yes, aye.
Zittergrun,
Aye.
Hadley,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Chisel.
Thank you. Board and commission appointments. Aaron, I'm requesting that Aaron Dieter be selected as the Decorah Sustainability Commission. We had two great applicants in Kevin Klastuel and Aaron Dieter. Where I chose Aaron Dieter is his knowledge locally, especially as far as the housing is concerned, because I feel that we need to work with initiative, both with sustainability and the council. And potentially perhaps like Nathan Thompson too, in trying to figure out housing and what we can do in order to work with that. But that was the reason why I'm choosing Aaron Teeter.
Detter's a transportation planner, though. He's not
He is,
housing.
He actually has housing experience as well.
Okay.
I have a,
Sure.
Aaron's great. At the commission, I think you were there. There was a suggestion when we instituted the Sustainability Commission, we had toyed with a 9-member commission.
I think,
And I just want to speak on that. The way that the commission has organized itself around task groups, they split up and do work.
they do.
And they wind up with split, and then they come back together as a commission. So it's kind of like they each are on groups. And some of their groups have 2 people and some have 3. And I think that the council could look at actually expanding the commission to 9 because of the nature of the work, the priority that it sets for us. Normally, a 9-member commission is really big and it's a lot of decision-making, but they're a working commission and it might be actually beneficial to them if they could have a few more members in those breakout groups. So, and we can have another conversation with them. I think we should meet as a council with the commission soon. It's on our priority list to go through the plan. But I think one thing you'll see is something like waste currently has 2 people working on it. And they come back and they report, but I think if we move that up in priorities, it'd be great if there were 3 people. But there aren't enough of them to go around with the 8 different segments of the plan.
I agree with that. When I looked at these 2, I did go back and look at this state 7. But I also, in attending the Sustainability Commission and knowing the initiatives that they have, just as Emily has said, there are projects that they all work on, but it could actually be more, but
It's
In
not
this
like, yeah,
case-
it's such a different working, and you've sat in a few meetings. It's not like a normal commission where it's like
yeah.
someone brings something to commission and they talk. These guys are actually going out and meeting with people and talking to people and coming up with plans and that's why I think for any one group, they're like, if we had 3 people to do this, that'd be great. So
For now, it's the one name that
Yeah.
I'm bringing forward.
But the question is, John, is it a big process to change the membership of a commission?
I was just looking, this isn't in an ordinance, is it? So it's,
I
It is an
think it
ordinance, yeah.
then, well,
is.
then it has to go through the normal ordinance process. So 3 readings. I don't think this would need a public hearing for this ordinance for a sustainability commissioner. I can double check that, but I don't think a public hearing is needed.
We could get rid of the cable board at the same time because the cable board needs to get killed. We actually have a cable board and we haven't had a cable franchise for years and years, and it's still on the books. So while we're cleaning things up and changing things, we might as well take care of that one too.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion for this appointment. Motion made by Chisel. Second,
I'll second. I mean, they're both awesome. It's really a hard choice. I can't-
it is seconded by Neil. Further discussion.
I agree that we had 2 kind of weirdly impressive,
Yeah.
qualified candidates, and it's a shame that we have to say no to either of them. I've said that before, but I've mostly said it to be nice. I really, really, really mean it this time.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I'm steering a commission that could use, I mean, I know that they could both be needed. So I'm really hoping actually that we could consider that. And
I think the shame is more that we had the one applicant the 1st of November and went through all of November without having anyone come to us to get a vote for joining this commission. So I think that's the shame here.
I didn't know that timeline. Thanks, Steve.
Well, and
And-
I think after it did come and then we did advertise because we hadn't advertised prior, I think.
And I hear you, I went back and looked at his application here, and I like Aaron very much. And I think he has a wonderful skill set. But I do know that Kevin actually has a plan for one of the items in the sustainability plan that he shared with me during his work on Park Board. In the economic development section of the sustainability plan, there's the item to to repurpose Ice Cave Road, and he has an actual plan for that. So I think having him actually have a firm grasp on one of the main items that we approved puts him in a different light in my mind. It's not just a, maybe he has things that work. He actually has already drafted a concept for one of the action items in the plan. So I don't know whether you took that into consideration or you did not, but it would, in my mind, in weighing the two, the other would raise to the top in my mind.
Okay, any
I
further?
would support Aaron with the understanding that we're working to raise the number on this commission.
Okay, roll call.
Chisel. Neil.
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Zittergren.
Aye.
Hadley.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
I also want it made known that we will have an opening on the Board of Adjustment at the end of December. And so I will put that out there as well. And we also have an opening on Telecommunication Commission too. So I'd be more than happy to, get back to Kevin too, if that is something of interest, but then also knowing that if we work with expanding, the Sustainability Commission too.
Yeah, when you get back to Kevin, I actually would mention to him that we're
I'll do
going
that.
to look at that because I think
I'll do that. Okay, thank you. City manager, department head, and council reports.
Okay, so one of the main priorities is with the council's work session, obviously running with, not waiting for that final report, but go ahead and running with what we know was clear and real directive from council. So we're working with those. Sustainability has a meeting before the next meeting, next council meeting. So at that time, I'm going to request that we try and schedule a joint work session between the Sustainability Committee and Sustainability Commission and the council, because as identified in the goal setting session was a lot of those goals fall somewhere in the sustainability plan.
A lot of them.
And so council's priorities maybe need to be conveyed to the Sustainability Commission. So they're working towards achieving those goals as a priority. Along those lines, continue meeting with external shareholders, stakeholders, and including our economic development partners, Luther. Just had another meeting today again, went very, very well, but
Who did you meet with today?
had a meeting with Luther today on with the sustainability
civic
Office
sustainability,
of Sustainability.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm butchering it.
Center for Sustainable Communities.
It was a beneficial meeting, I assure you. But had a great meeting up there, talked about some of the projects coming up in the future with the city, talked about the goal setting session, and they shared maybe some insights on Luther and what Luther was going to be seeing as far as partnerships with the city moving forward. And I apologize, I had one other thing. Move on for me.
Okay, we can always come back.
With the meeting with the sustainability, my suggestion for council, for just from direction, right, is that we do a little bit of pre-work. The plan's big. And in any one meeting to go through the whole plan is going to be a lot. And so we might want to consider how do we want to actually make that meeting be really effective for everyone in terms of, do we want to go through the plan as a council prior and say, here's some things we think we're going to work on, and then talk to commission. And I guess thinking about how that meeting was going to work. Otherwise, we're going to be in another 3-hour meeting.
Mhm.
Just some thoughts.
Sounds like we could do some organization.
It's a big
ahead of
plan.
time, Pre-plan. Okay.
It wasn't Chuck Patton, was it? No? All right. Greg Patton, sorry.
Okay,
Wasn't Greg, you didn't meet with Greg Patton?
John and
John
Chris.
Jensen, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
John Jensen
John
and
Jensen.
Chris.
Chris,
Frank Bog.
Chris
Sure.
Fransfog.
And you would have been meeting with me 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, Carrie,
We are, next 2 weeks, we're advertising to hire the deputy city clerk. So we're going forward, looking at changes in the office. And once we get that person hired, we're going to be looking at reorganizing some of the jobs each position has to see if we can free up some time to start going down the road of having someone concentrate on the communications part. So we are going forward with that. It's just a little bit slower, but, and then, so that's about it right now. That's the biggest step right now. And then we also have been working with Chopper. Travis had talked about text messaging like the school does. So Chopper took that and went with it and has contacted the company that the high school uses. And then they also offer more than just that. So it might be a good partnership with that. So it is going forward.
Thanks, that's awesome.
okay,
I just remember if I could interject.
okay.
So, been actually corresponding a lot with John since the last council meeting. There's been several memos released by the state auditor's office on
Oh, yes.
public purpose use of funds. And so there've been, I believe, 4 iterations now, maybe 5. Anyway, this council agenda for tonight has 21 items, including adjournment on it. The draft version, I believe, had close to 35, maybe, because we need to enter into a bunch of 2080 agreements with all our partners that we provide funding with, as well as the council needs to take annual action to approve funding for us to actually issue them the finances. So the next meeting, I hope the council will accept. I'll present a overall. This is why you see 7 2080 agreements on the council agenda. And we can just, I'll leave them as single items because there still needs to be council discussion to make sure that there is a public purpose. The council agrees these have a public purpose and that we should provide either this direct funding or in kind. So if, for example, the streets department hanging the baskets from Betterment and Christmas lights with Chamber, we have to have some kind of, those won't be 20s. That'll be a resolution of all these individual in kind, helping with the lights at holiday lights, helping unload the truck. So as long as council says there is a public purpose for these and we put them in a resolution, then staff can continue to do those types of things.
Okay,
Without having to be granular. So we don't have, in every November, we don't have to make a motion to do in-kind donations for holiday lights for city staff to unload the truck, right?
No, our take is as long as council approves one resolution outlining all those
Those
specific,
potentials.
yeah, those potentials, then it's covered.
that sounds
Is
great.
it like a flag policy, but for our city, what we do?
No, it- Let's hope not. Okay.
No, I mean, like, is it like, no, I'm being serious, actually. I mean, is it like we can do these things and then if there's something that comes up, we can't do it unless we include it?
This way, when we're audited, and the main reason this came up is there was an opinion that the first iteration from the state auditor's office said, stop doing that. Said during COVID, yes, homelessness and food insecurity are big issues, but the state constitution says we cannot donate tax dollar monies. And so stop doing that. There have been some reiterations afterwards that have kind of dialed that back and said, well, you can enter into 2080 agreements and written agreements for economic development purposes. And then now most recently, it's getting to the point where, okay, keep doing what you were doing, but just put it in writing now that you're doing it and state that it does have a public purpose.
So it can be public safety, it can be economic development. The public purpose can be lots of different things.
Mhm. As long as this group up here says it's got a public purpose and it's within reason, then we're fine.
To be sort of like to be continued as far as what actually ends up.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, anybody at the department head?
I was just gonna give an update on our battle, I guess, with emerald ash borer. Remember 4 or 5 years ago, we estimated approximately 425 ash trees in the boulevard. We are now down to about 35.
Wow.
So, and those will be removed by our staff, hopefully over the next few months. So Sam Hoganson, our city forester, has done a great job leading our team, working with contractors as well as our staff. So we did have a contractor remove about 90 stumps here recently, and another about 50 are left that we'll tackle next year. So our priority was getting the trees down, tackling the stumps later. So we're in that phase. So we're very close. Again, I want to emphasize that's boulevard trees only. We still have a challenge on private property, but we're making good headway on those in the boulevard, street boulevards, but parks, private property, still something that folks need to be aware of.
Jeremy, do we have any anecdotal, information about property owner trees in backyards and side yards and so on? Are people moving on them and getting rid of them, or are they just waiting?
Based on observations we've seen, it's a lot of waiting till they're very obviously dead. Sam has contacted some private property owners to say, hey, you have a very hazardous ash tree. It's ash tree. It is so far gone that it's a hazard, and our code actually would allow him to compel that to be removed. Of course, we want to work with folks first, but hasn't been a lot of that. When the survey came out, we estimated, again, it was very rough, about 1,300 private property ash trees. So yeah, we're seeing a little movement, but not as much as we need to.
Have we done a big press
Thank you.
release on it for homeowners to recognize the signs, or just look at your tree and say, I've got ash? And
Over the
maybe-
past couple of years, the tree board has done several press releases. I know they're talking about what else can be done, or could just continue, maybe monthly or bi-monthly, to continue to do those, what to look for. Because once you start to see the telltale signs, they can move quick, and one strong wind can become very brittle very fast, to the point where some contractors will not remove them because they're too hazardous. So can't wait. First signs, if you're not treating, need to be removal.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Seeing none? Randy? Emily?
Just a couple things. I had a great meeting with Jessica at the chamber. I know she's getting around talking to council members. Just putting it on our everything for me always says, in January, we should do this in January. I do think that given that our hotel motel funds are coming up in March, and we don't move fast as a city, we should probably start those conversations pretty quickly in terms of what we're going to do. And I think having a good economic development conversation among all of us would be good. And we haven't really, in my 2 years on the council, we haven't. We all prioritize economic development. We think it's important. We know it's important, but it would be great to have an open conversation of what that actually means for every one of us. And then how do we want to work with our partners? That's not to say I don't think we've been working well. That is to say, I think that that's why we have these agreements come up, is so that we can have the opportunity to reflect and celebrate our successes and look towards what we want to do in the future. So I would highly suggest, it seems like March is a long time away, but in the way our cog works, we should probably start working on economic development pretty soon. Then the Sustainability Commission is meeting next week, just to give a heads up, and would like that joint meeting, which Travis talked about. And then also thanks to everybody at Holiday Lights and all the hard work that's going on there, and all the hard work that has been happening to make our city look amazing, and all the local shopping. It's been really fabulous. And a hats off to our street department. It sounds like you might get some work in the next couple of days.
Okay, Steve Luce?
Well, I'd like to express heartfelt concern for Councilperson Carlson and his illness that he disclosed to us, and we wish him the best and Godspeed and healing. I would hope another council person would join me in asking an agenda item for our next meeting be to raise the size of the Sustainability Commission.
Oh, yeah, I will.
Okay. Thank you.
And I want to wish everyone warmth. Thank you.
Steve Zittigran.
Thanks for that, Steve. I needed that after
Mhm.
today. I went to Christmas at Luther and it was just exceptional. And I'm just so grateful for what we have, the talent that Luther College brings to our community and kind of the access to cultural events I mean, it makes us a richer town. And I'm just grateful to the students and staff who made it happen. The MEU has met since our last council, the MEU task force has met since our last council meeting. A couple different things that, that you should be advised about. They're planning community education events they've talked to large power users. They've talked to Decorah jobs. They want to hear from the wider community, and they also want to make sure that there's some good information, some sort of non-biased information getting out there. So they're planning those events for early in the year, it sounds like. I'll just, encourage everyone to shop local this Christmas and holiday season. It's hard to get away from that habit of clicking for a box to appear on your doorstep, but that's not what makes this community the special place it is. So take the extra step and go and shop at the shops.
Thanks. Ross Adler?
Well, on the aspect of cultural richness and whatnot, I give a shameless plug for the Decorah Chorale concert this coming weekend at Decorah High School. There's going to be plenty of room to spread out. We know that masks are a thing that we need to be doing because the COVID rates are up. So masks are optional at the concert, but heavily encouraged. The chorale will be wearing masks, and we are separated to provide some social distancing while we sing, but it doesn't affect our sound quality. So we're
What day and time is that?
it is Saturday at, oh gosh, I
Well,
believe it's 7:30. It's available online at
Okay.
Decorah Chorale.
It's a Saturday, not.
Is it live streamed?
No, I don't believe so. But it's a great concert.
Okay.
It'll be great. Also attended the Christmas concert at Luther. It always kind of, as a retailer, Christmas is kind of like tax season for accountants, which is a great problem to have, but Christmas at Luther always gets me in the spirit, so it's wonderful. I had several meetings. One of them was with Brett Reese, who is part of the group that is looking into downtown housing. They got the housing study back, and it's interesting. It's been shared with several members of the council, with Decorah Jobs, and with a couple other partners, and they're looking into potential in our community for housing.
What was the name again?
Who I spoke with?
Brett?
Brett Reese from Rebound Industries.
Got it. Thank you.
And I also spoke with Greg Britton from Luther, Greg Patton from Luther, who's the chair of the business department. And because one of the items in the sustainability plan in the economic development section is about recruiting Luther alumni to come home. It's one of our initiatives that we adopted, and he would be the point of contact for the Erdman Engineering Prize, which awards grants for Luther students who come up with entrepreneurial business ideas while they're at Luther. And so they sustain them that way. We could help them stay in town after they graduate and continue their business, or we could be bringing back we could be inviting former award winners to come back to Decorah, to come home. So that is something that I think will be beneficial, and but won't be looking at it until January because he doesn't teach J-term.
Okay.
Thanks.
Just a brief correction. The Erdman Prize was given to Luther College by Daryl and Audrey Erdman, both former regents of the college, not
Mhm.
Erdman Engineering.
Yeah, thanks.
It's it's an entrepreneurial prize.
That's a, right, different Erdman.
And then on to other things. I saw that we have received the salary survey, and
Mhm.
I'll be talking with the mayor and Travis and Carrie and others about putting together a personnel committee sometime in the near future to at least begin discussions on the salary matrix. I would suspect it's going to take more than one meeting.
I think so too.
But I think we should start thinking about it and plan to meet a few times in the new year.
I appreciate you getting that going. Okay, I actually went and watched the Luther online, which was fantastic. Yeah, please, Kurt, would you take back what a great job that they did?
Sure will.
It was just like being there. Actually, I could see people really well, and I wasn't able to get a ticket to go up, so I appreciated that opportunity. I also went downtown on Saturday, stayed downtown all afternoon and walked up and down the streets and went to the events, got my shopping all done, and it was a treat to be right down in town. There were so many people. Anything else to come before the council? Hearing none? Move to adjournment. Thank you very much.